Hello and welcome to this week's Whole Week Costa. For Kevin, I'm Jay. On Whole Week Costa, we talk about the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show. We talk about the themes of each week's episodes, including how they can relate to real-world events or pay homage to other media. Each week we tackle 2 episodes, and at the end of each season, we do a season recap. All right, Kev, this week we're going to talk about parts 2 and 3 of the Boba Fett arc we started last week. The first episode is R2 Come Home, and the third and final of this arc is Lethal Trackdown. Kev, you want to start us off reading the description of R2 Come Home?
Yeah, when a band of bounty hunters leads Anakin and Mace into a deadly trap on Vancouver, it's up to R2-D2 to battle his way back to Coruscant and warn the Jedi. So, I mean, this episode was cool, but like, what was the message of this? Like, what was the point of this episode? Do you think, if you had to summarize it in one sentence?
I think it brings back thoughts we had on episodes prior about how the astro droids should, their memory should be wiped after every mission, and Anakin doesn't do that with R2-D2, and Mace Windu kind of was like, he said like your android or your battle droid or whatever is skittish and why does it act like that? And he's like, oh, R2, he's my buddy, and in the end it saves them. Anakin not doing his job saves them again.
Yeah, I think you just talked me into this episode because it's something that we've talked about before. Because when I was watching the episode, my feeling was kind of like, R2 go burr. Like, okay, that's cool. Like, R2 is a good droid, and Anakin really likes him. And, we didn't learn anything new about what we knew about either character already. We had a cool, you had R2 Home Alone, where he was dropping the stuff on the bounty hunters. Then you had R2 Horror Movie, where those beasts are, chasing him, and he, looking around. And then you had R2 Car Chase, where he's chasing them, and then R2 as the marathon runner, where he runs and he collapses finally, and then tells them, and then R2 coming back to save the day when Plo Koon and Ahsoka go back. But no, if you want to frame this about droid rights, I think that's a good point for this episode.
Yeah, it's you give droids autonomy and they become a person. They gain feelings, they gain thoughts, they know how to strategize, and you see that in R2, and you see that in other episodes, and then you see that in the Han Solo movie, like the droids' rights problems, or you see it in the newer Star Wars, all the droids' rights. And then if you do some research, which we've talked about before, like the droid rebellions, and and then you have the people that are like Mace Windu who go, they're just droids. What do you care?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is I don't know. I feel like I want to bring this topic up on one of the droid subreddits, like the Clankers Rights or something like that. I have the C word pass because I participate in those things. I don't think you can say clanker.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so the only thing other than this being like a filler episode, it's one of those filler episodes that you kind of need because you don't want to go. You don't really, as a writer, you don't want to go from Anakin going, all right, R2, go fly back to Coruscant. That's just bad writing from a writer standpoint. You have to have a little story, to fill time, just like any book or any other movie. You don't want to have bad writing. You don't want to yada yada through something. But I mean, it could have, I guess, more montagey, and you could have got to Plo Koon a little quicker.
Yeah, this definitely was just this. I mean, this advanced the storyline. We saw what happened with the ship. We know that those hostages were captured. I don't know. We see there's some conflict between the bounty hunters, but other than that, I mean, I think it's I think the droid rights thing is the only thing really to talk about with this. And I always forget this. I know C3PO, his memory is wiped after episode 3 of the movies. But what was R2D2's or no?
I don't believe so. He has that memory throughout the whole entire time. All the movies.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
So, I mean, I think we talked all about, you had to talk about this episode if you want to move into the next episode, which I thought was a great episode.
Here we go. R2D2's memory is not wiped. As a result, R2D2 is the only surviving character at the end of the saga who knows the entire story of the Skywalker family. Both R2D2 and C3PO end up in the possession of Captain Ramus Antilles on board the Tantive 4. Interesting.
You want to move into Lethal Trackdown?
Yeah. This was a more substantial episode.
So Lethal Trackdown is the final episode of season 2,
which I'm pretty excited about because I feel like people. I keep reading that like, oh, season 1 and 2 were okay, but then the other ones are great. But I feel like these were great. So,
this whole arc was pretty good. I like how we get introduced to young Boba, but the season 2, there's no real like fanfare.
Yeah.
Just like season 1, you're like, all right, see you guys next week.
So Lethal Trackdown. After combing the Coruscant underworld for a young fugitive, Plo Koon and Ahsoka pursue him to floor him for a climactic confrontation. So this had like all my favorite characters in it. I feel like Plo Koon is the most badass Jedi. I love Ahsoka. I love Hondo Ohnaka. He's my favorite bounty hunter if I had to pick a bounty hunter. So, I mean, this is just pretty great.
The beginning, it's like you see Plo Koon, and he takes the Padawan, and he like teaches the Padawan. And the first thing she says is like, "Why don't we go to the last place we saw him?" And he's like, "Why would we go a place we know he's not?"
Yeah.
And then we go to the Coruscant Underground, and like Star Wars just loves, never-ending tunnels. Like if you fall down that, which you're dead. And I think that's a major theme in Star Wars, never-ending tunnels. That could be why people spend 30, 40 years on Star Wars and never get over it, because it itself is a never-ending tunnel.
It's deep. It's true.
But how badass did Plo Koon look with all his like coat and everything on?
If I was gonna do a like a Jedi cosplay, which I never would do, but if I was going to do it, it would definitely be Plo Koon in this episode.
Yeah, but that's all you need is a cloak and like a mask, and he has that like deep voice, and he sounds kind of evil.
I know. I was just thinking about the voice. I was thinking like that's like a real human being can make that voice. Like I'm sure that's not filtered. I'm sure that's somebody's real voice that they're able to make, and that's insane.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love this episode. Like the whole thing kind of felt like it felt like a movie that was 22 minutes long.
Oh, how about where Boba Fett says, "Oh, I'm looking for justice," and Plo Koon goes, "We are justice." This is great.
Yeah. So after going through like the Coruscant Underground, which is a pretty cool scene because you get to see more of Coruscant, the deep seedy bars and because everything we've seen on Coruscant so far is like, regular people like living life and, like it basically, LA or Manhattan when people were just walking through stores and they're eating at Dexter's Diner or stuff like that. Now we go to the seedy underground where, it's kind of like gross and dark and disgusting and criminals live, but they live there free of pretty much seems like police.
Yeah. Episodes like this, especially this whole Boba Fett arc, and I mean, I've said it before, but I don't know if people are watching any of the old episodes, but like, I always like Star Wars, but I'm definitely not. I don't know everything about Star Wars, and I'm learning more as we go along. Obviously, since we started doing this, my interest has peaked a lot, and I'm like watching and reading as much as I can and stuff. For I guess for a while now, so I guess I know a pretty good amount now, but it's definitely a lot I don't know. And if you were like real neckbeardy, you could like gatekeep the shit out of like these episodes, like probably pick apart some of the stuff we talk about. But hopefully, if you're like, either a regular Star Wars fan or like a super fan who's like not a jerk, like you can enjoy the conversation. But this is one of those episodes where I just wish I knew, every detail about Boba Fett's like later life, and obviously now we're seeing more, stuff related to him in the Mandalorian too. Like,
well, we definitely see that. Remember, we're only on season 2. There's 7 seasons and a movie.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what's all going to happen with him in the future. I don't know. I couldn't read you back a Wikipedia article about his entire life. This is one of the things where I know there's more overarching stuff that like I'm not picking up on. That probably someone that knows more would read into these episodes.
That's the great thing about watching this in order is like we're going to learn that, and then eventually you will learn that.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, and then so is Hondo Ohnaka the best bounty hunter, or do you have a different favorite bounty hunter?
No, he is the best bounty hunter, and I do like how much like people, even though they're like mad at him, like Plo Koon knows Hondo Ohnaka is wanted. Like there's no way he doesn't know it, but like he knows he's not there for him, and like they kind of they have like an honorable discussion. Like, I need to know where these people are, and then he leaves. Like Hondo Ohnaka's like a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy at the same time.
Like the Wreck-It Ralph thing.
What?
like the Wreck-It Ralph creed. Like,
yeah,
just because we're bad guys doesn't mean we're bad guys.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. Like, he's a bounty hunter, and we know what bounty hunters do, and we've seen them, kill people. But then at the same time, like Plo Koon, like, my quarrel's not with you. We have to bring this guy to justice. So he's like, oh, they're over there. See ya. And then he comes out and he's like, you're not hiding any information. He tells Boba, like, you're not hiding any real information, so just give it to him. And then, we'll go from there. Because I have a feeling that Hondo Ohnaka and Boba Fett will meet up again.
Yeah, well, and he makes a very big deal of the fact that Jango Fett was an honorable bounty hunter. I think that's what Hondo Ohnaka ultimately strives to be too. I think my favorite scene. Well, I mean, first it's great when I just lost her name on the top of my head. When Aura Singh meets with him to ask for help, and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to hurt you either. But I'm not getting involved with Jedi's. It's crazy." And then when Ahsoka is leaving to chase her, and one of his guys puts his gun up, and he waves it down, like, no, we're not getting involved in this.
He knows. I mean, we've seen Plo Koon like be a badass, and he knows if Plo Koon like shows up, like he knows for a fact he can't take Plo Koon. He's like, whatever. And then if he does kills one of them or whatever, more Jedi are gonna show up.
Yeah, I feel like Hondo Ohnaka is like he's like the old gangster sort of like romanticized ideal of oh, he is committing minor crimes, and like he's a good guy, he just is like doing things a little bit outside the law, like if it came to it, he would do what he had to do, but like he doesn't really want to hurt anybody. He just wants stuff that isn't his. Yeah.
Yeah, but also he's a bounty hunter, and bounty hunters are definitely legal in this universe.
True. Yeah.
So, and then if we go over to Aura Singh, like, she's definitely not dead. She'll definitely be back. She's a good character.
Yeah, and it was the same. I mean, it's the same thing where Mace Windu's ship, where the ship crashed, and then Mace Windu goes on. We see the explosion, so we know he's not dead. So, the parallel here is we know she's not dead either. And then I don't know. I was thinking back to when the episode where Obi-Wan is desperately chasing Grievous, and then Grievous gets away on a ship, and Obi-Wan can't stop him. But Ahsoka did not have the same troubles stopping Aurra Sing, and that was probably one of the most badass sequences that we've seen in all of the 2 seasons.
Oh, that's definitely because of Anakin. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to jump up, hang on, cut the wing off, and then get right in her face too. Like I mean, the wing's off. You could have just then let her crash, but she had to make she 100% went for the kill. Like she had to go for getting right in front of the viewport too.
Yeah. She just didn't like Anakin would have done the same thing. Like, whereas Obi-Wan's like, oh, we could save that for a later date. Or any other Jedi would have been like, oh, we'll just capture her later. Like we have Boba Fett. And she's like, oh, we have Boba Fett. I'm going. I'm killing this person. Like she ruined it. Like I'm bringing her to justice.
Oh, you know what part it might have been? So this episode directed by Dave Filoni himself. So that probably contributes to how awesome it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was really really good. And because sometimes you bring up the animation, like how good was Aurra Sing's animation?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if anything really stood out for me. But yeah, I mean everything. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said before, I heard people that kind of bashed the animation or on this show. And I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago. Like, so I was talking to somebody who doesn't want to watch it because they've heard so many bad things about it. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it didn't. I guess there wasn't anything that wowed me, but it doesn't take me out of it at all. Like this is just what this universe looks like. It's good.
But no, I mean, like she was drawn really well. She had nice her face had these weird sharp edges that made her kind of human and kind of alien at the same time. And then she had a very she had an antenna, but she had that that head that went back. It was I liked it a lot.
Yeah. But so that's it. That's it for season 2, right?
Yeah, I guess we'll do a season 2 wrap up next week.
Yeah. We should try to do a proper wrap up. Go back and look for some. Yeah, I think it'll be a little more a little bit of work, but we should look for some themes that ran through this season, see how things have progressed. Maybe talk about where characters were at the beginning and end of this season.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Because for the first season, I feel like we just kind of wrapped it up when we talked about the last episodes. We didn't do another video,
Yeah.
but we should for this. I like that idea. So So next week, that's what we're doing.
Yep. So that's it for this episode. For Kev, I'm Jay. Thanks for listening. Please check our podcast out at Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast. Search Whole Wheat Costa. Check out our YouTube. Please subscribe and like.